problem for lesson 1 of module 4 was talking about solving for the value of x. So we're solving for x. We're looking to see if we can solve this problem by using some information that we may or may not know. And really what we were trying to do in the lesson was to be able to use number sense in order to be able to solve this problem. So there are a few ways that we can do this problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you to be able to solve this problem in your books and look at it and do everything that you can to be able to solve it. I'm going to challenge you to go ahead and try that by yourself. And at the end of the lesson, we'll go back and look through it. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 says reading an equation. They want us to consider the equation 2 times y minus 6 equals 22. I have a question for you. If we look at this problem and we pay attention to the details, we know that it's 2 times whatever this is equals 22. So 2 times a mystery number, we don't know what that is, equals 22. Well, 2 times what equals 22? Well, we should know that 2 times 11 equals 22. If 2 times 11 equals 22, that means that whatever was in the parentheses or whatever's in the box has to equal 11. So that means that y minus 6 equals 11. Well, you now have y minus 6 equals 11. What minus 6? Here's your question again. What minus 6 equals 11? Well, you know that 17 minus 6 equals 11. So that means that y has to equal 17. Now, is that the only way that we can solve this problem? Absolutely not. There are 2 other ways that we can solve this problem. There's the way where you can distribute the number, or you can divide by 2. So you have the option of choosing which way works best for you. I'm going to show you both ways just so that you can know how to do both of them. So you have 2y minus 6 equals 22. We're going to distribute. That means that the number on the outside of the parentheses is going to multiply to each term inside the parentheses. So 2 times y is 2y. 2 times negative 6 is going to be a negative. A positive times a negative is negative. Negative 12 equals 22. Now we're going to use the addition property of equality by adding 12 to both sides. You get 2 times y equals 22 plus 12, which is 34. Now we need to use the multiplication property of equality. It looks a little bit different. We're multiplying by the reciprocal, or you can say it's the division property of equality. We're going to divide on both sides. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides, and y has the value of 17. Look, we got the same answer again. We're going to do it one more different way because there are multiple ways to be able to solve equations as long as you can prove by substituting the value that you receive for the variable back into the equation to make sure that it's balanced, then you can do it however which way you want to. So you have 2 multiplying times everything in this parentheses. We need to get rid of this 2 in order to make and isolate this y minus 6. So 2 multiplying, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to multiply everything by 2 on both sides, the property of equality. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times y is y. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6 equals 22 divided by 2 is 11. This looks very familiar. So then we're going to add 6 to both sides. Y equals 17. Now, we know that the value of y is 17. So now they want us to check our solution. The only way that you check your solution is by plugging that value back into the equation, the original equation. Our original equation says 2 times y minus 6 equals 22. The value of y we've solved 3 times is 17. So 2 times 17 minus 6 equals 22. 17 minus 6, because we always do parentheses first. 17 minus 6 is 11. 2 times 11 equals 22. 22 equals 22. If they equal, then it is a true statement. So this is what we're doing to check our solution. This is a required step. You must always, no matter how long it takes, plug your number back in to make sure that it is balanced on both sides of that equal sign. Equations do not work unless they're balanced. So let's keep going. We're talking about mystery numbers. They want us to match each sentence to its equation, then solve each equation and check the solution. One way that we talked about it in class was that we were discussing important words that you use in number sentences in order to be able to rewrite the sentence as a equation from a sentence. So we're looking at words like sum. We know that sum is addition. We know that half, and there's a number that we don't know, and that's addition. 6 is. So is going to always be equal 22. So if I rewrite this, it's going to look like 1/2 times x plus 6 equals 22. You could also write this one as x divided by 2 plus 6 equals 22. And then our job was to find in equation 1, 2, 3, or 4 which one matched this problem. And if we go through it, we'll see that the problem looks very similar to equation 3. So now we have w divided by 2 plus 6 equals 22. Well, here's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Where's the variable? Well, we have a variable over here. So I'm just going to pretend that this is a box that we don't know the answer to. What plus 6 equals 22? What plus 6 equals 22? Well, 16 plus 6 equals 22. So now we know that w divided by 2 equals 16. W divided by 2 equals 16. So now we need to ask ourselves, what number divided by 2 equals 16? What number divided by 2 equals 16? Well, we have 32 divided by 2 equals 16. So we know that w should equal 32. Well, let's put that back into the equation and see if it works. 32 divided by 2 plus 6 equals 22. Well, 32 divided by 2 is 16 plus 6 equals 22. 22 equals 22. Then we got it right. So let's keep going. Twice the sum of a number and 6 is 22. So twice the sum of a number and 6. So they're telling us twice, so 2 times the sum of a number and 6 equals 22. I would say that this one goes here with B. 2 times this number plus 2 times this equals 22. So we have 2 times this number, we don't know what this number is, equals 22. What times a number equals 22? 2 times 11 equals 22. So we know that w plus 6 has to equal 11. What plus 6 equals 11? 5 plus 6 equals 11. So w must equal 5. How do we know that? We go back and we plug it back into the equation and see if it works. 2 times 5 plus 6 equals 22. 2 times 11 equals 22. 22 equals 22. So what you're going to do is you're going to do C and D. C and D. And then we're going to go over here to this next section, which is which one doesn't belong. So in this section, we were talking about linear expressions. A linear expression is something that can be written as the sum or difference of expressions that consist of a number, a variable, or the product of a number and a variable. And it would look like this. So here's our number, here's our variable, here's our number with a variable. It's multiplying. Product means to multiply. So this number right here is a constant term, and the variable or the number with a variable are linear terms. So I want you to pause the video. That way you can go ahead and copy this down in your book, and then we'll go a little bit further. So now let's look through these problems. We have 2x minus 5. Does it have a number and a variable? Does it have a number? Then it is a linear expression. What about this one? It has x squared plus 3. It is not linear, and the reason why it's non-linear is because it has a variable times a variable. It has a variable times a variable. So this one is not linear. What about 4x? It is a number times a variable, so it is a linear expression. Then you have 6x plus 1 plus x. This is also a linear expression. So now we're going to use the linear expressions in problem 4 to create 3 linear equations. Remember, an equation has an equal sign and is balanced on both sides. So, what are some ideas that you can come up to make a linear equation out of this information? What if we said 2x minus 5 equals 4x? Or what about 6x plus 1 plus x equals 4x? Or we could also do 6x plus 1 plus x equals 2x minus 5. So there are some linear equations that you can look at. You'll see that there's multiple variables. But now we're going to go over here and circle the equations that are linear, the linear equations. So the first one, 2 times w plus 6 equals 22. This is definitely a linear equation, and the reason why is because it has all of the variables and an equal sign. Then you also have w squared plus 6 equals 22. Well, what's the rule? It's not linear because it has 2 variables multiplying by itself. So your job is to go through and finish the rest of these, determining if they're linear or non-linear. I'm going to go ahead and circle the ones that are and are not. I want you to pause the videos and go through it yourself. Your homework is page 15 through 18, all numbers 1 through 12. So I'm going to go ahead and circle, pause the video, see if you can do it yourself, and then you are done for the day. Have a great day.